welcome to another episode of Inside the Message. We're so glad that you joined us tonight. I'm Brother T. This is Rev René.
Hello.
And what we're going to do is talk about last Sunday's inspirational message, which was how to be safe, I believe, right? How to be safety. And the whole thing was about safety, how to feel safe.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was a great message. And what I got out of it, there's two primary things to focus on. One of them is love. That's a big rabbit hole.
Imagine that.
Go down
right?
that rabbit hole. And the other one is forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of opened up, another little can of worms there on forgiveness because it's such a huge topic.
Yeah.
And so I also heard you make a commitment to talk about commitment for next month. So in February, which we are in February. So for this month, we'll have some discussions about forgiveness. So I hope you'll come and join us on Sunday. We'll be doing a talk called Fear of Forgiveness. So that's a little plug on that.
Nice.
Right. So, but
and
back to you.
That'll be by you.
It'll be by me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but back to your talk. So it feels like, right,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds like, okay, you can say all that, but it's not how I feel. I don't feel safe. And I know you unpacked it and you spent some time with it, but maybe someone here in our audience tonight didn't get a chance to see that yet, and maybe they got some questions in mind themselves. So how do we feel safe in this, what appears to be an unsafe world? So what does love, what does it do? I mean, how does it protect us?
Right. So the inspiration for this message was noticing how everyone is now telling one another to stay safe and be safe when we part or when we sign off of an email or Zoom or whatever we're doing. Everybody will say, stay safe, be safe. And it's not that we didn't say that before, but it just seems as if it's more prevalent in the pandemic world that we find ourselves in. And you and I have had this conversation, and we've had it in our Zoom conversation that just beneath that well-intended statement, there is the presumption of non-safety, that we aren't safe. Mm-hmm. And so in a way, it is a fearful statement. It is a statement of concern and worry and, be on guard, you must be safe. And your question about what does love have to do with it? So as I often do when I am contemplating a spiritual message, is I go into the woods and I go for a walk. And I did that at Percy Warner Park here in Nashville. And I was on my trek, and I was really in connection with Spirit asking that question. And the outline for the message that I delivered actually came like a download from just this dump of here's how you stay safe. And it felt so simple to me. So pause for a second. In a world where our safety depends upon wearing masks, perhaps, or getting vaccinations, or watching the economic situation, or our safety might be believed or perceived to be connected with a stimulus check, or what the government is going to do to help us during this challenging time. Our safety can seem to be reliant upon a relationship. I get a lot of sense of safety just by the fact that I'm in a loving relationship with you. Our safety in the world can be putting on a coat for a walk in the woods. It's cold. I'm protecting the body. I come home to the shelter. There are all these ways that we keep safe in the world. And yet on this walk, what I was getting is the greatest thing that we can do to assure our safety is to love and to be loving. And so your question is, how can that be true? And without repeating the whole talk,
Yeah.
which is something that I don't want to do,
Sure.
is that our strength and our safety lies in our defenselessness. And love is defenseless. Love needs no defense. And if we think of it just practically, that I look back on the last couple of years of my life, which have been the most challenging that I have ever experienced. The challenges have been things that I could not even conceive of, that have challenged my sense of identity and safety in the world. And I can look back on the moments when I remembered my identity as a child of God, as that Christ consciousness, as the beloved, and that I was able to allow that consciousness to love even in the midst of what felt unsafe. In other words, in the moments when I didn't defend myself, in the moments when I didn't attack in order to defend, those were the moments, although it felt vulnerable, that I didn't create a ripple effect, if you will, that then I would have to protect myself from retaliation or something like that. What I have noticed, and I bet you notice this in your life and in your life, in those moments when I'm not aligned with my identity, and I may attack or I may try to protect myself, it is in those moments when I'm actually the least safe, when I'm actually least peaceful and centered. And in those moments, those are the most dangerous moments, actually, because in my reacting, in my protection, I instigate, what I'm giving, which is either attack or protection. It's either, counterattack or retreat and separation, which doesn't serve either. And so this idea of loving, how can I be loving in any given situation, is the first step. And then when we're able to be in our divine identity and come from a place of peace and love, what ends up happening is we get insights and individuals that come our way, and unexpected, sustenance in the form of checks in the mail and phone calls from people we didn't even anticipate could be a part of our network that keeps us safe. That it is in love that we connect with one another and all needs end up getting met. And I don't need to make anything happen. Think about it, in your darkest moments and in your greatest moments of need, how people and ideas populate your experience that leads you in a way that you knew not of, that would lead to your safety or lead to the next indicated step for you. And it's when we can maintain that stasis of who we are, which is love.
Yeah, makes sense. I know in the absolute.
Did I repeat my talk?
No, I don't think you
not.
did.
I hope
not
that
at all.
was.
But if you missed it, I would go back and I would encourage you to go back and listen to it. Are you getting hot?
I get warm when we do these things.
Okay,
that's enough.
That's good.
Okay.
Well, in the absolute sense too, I think it's important for me to have a basis in saying to myself, okay, I'm walking through the woods and there's a bear.
Right? A bar?
A bear.
There's a bar in the woods?
There's a bar in the woods.
I like that kind of woods.
And so
there's a bear.
There's a bear in the woods, and I need to get the hell out of there.
Right.
Okay. But see, I have a choice. I can do that without fear. That's just self-preservation of the body. That's just making a smart choice. I don't have to do it in fear. And if I do it in fear, then I'm probably going to run a lot further than I need to.
Well, perhaps. But I would say that what is built into our biology, that is a very loving thing. It's that, fight or flight biology.
Yeah.
That when we encounter a bear, that we have the biology that will say, run, and we run.
Mm.
And biologically, the cortisol runs through the body, and we're off.
We're
and
off into the woods.
And it's okay if we run too far, because it was important for us to get the heck out of there.
Right. But
the issue that I want to bring forth is that very response, that biological response, we do that for everything in our culture. Mm-hmm. And we're teeming with a fight or flight responsiveness that is not necessary.
Yeah, and it ultimately sets up disease and other things.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
So that's where being self-loving is really important.
So the more evolved aspect of the brain and our biology can transcend that and can discern, and that we can begin to realize that response is appropriate for the bear in the woods, but it isn't appropriate with my brother and sister.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, on an absolute sense, it's also pointing to that, we're not bodies to begin with.
Right.
We are spirit. Right. Whereas God created us to be, we're not bodies. And so we can't really die. We can't really suffer. And those things. But we have this experience of those things because we're having a physical experience.
Right. And almost all of the safety that I listed in the beginning has to do with keeping the body safe. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to be reckless with the body. The body is our vehicle in this experience. And we have put more burden on it than what it was designed to do. It was designed to be surrendered to the spirit aspect of ourselves and to be this vehicle through which we go about and have this wonderful experience where we can taste ice cream and we can feel the warmth of another, and we can marvel at the sights that we see. And those things are all wonderful. But the point of love and being loving is that when we come from that, first and foremost, we're led perfectly on how to care for the body.
Right. Well, I think that one of the foundations there too is in love is trust. Mm-hmm. So when we're coming from love, we're coming from a place of trust. And so we can be more allowing and accepting of what appears to be going on outside of ourselves too.
Yes. And I was attempting to bring forth the concept of a network of love, like a web of relationship. And so when we come from love, we allow ourselves to engage with one another and to attract one another so that we can love and serve one another. And therein lies our safety.
I like it.
Yeah.
I get that. Evidently.
Yeah. So then the second part, or did you want to ask?
Well, something? I did. The second part really, which just kind of opens the door for what we'll be talking about over the next few weeks is forgiveness. So I just wanted to ask, how would you like to see this whole discussion about forgiveness roll out over the next few weeks? What can we expect as audience to this conversation? In your mind, what would you like us to learn about forgiveness over the next few weeks?
Well, I believe that our intention, not just mine singularly, that our intention is to really bring forth the principles which we've already laid the foundation, the true thought principles that are the foundation for what we call true forgiveness, real forgiveness, beyond beyond bitterness, beyond otherness, that there is a forgiveness that is
Let's just say an understanding of what forgiveness is. It's really the only forgiveness. Can I say it that way?
Well,
When you're saying there is a forgiveness, is like there's multiple kinds of forgiveness?
well, I think, yeah, there have been various forgiveness teachings, for sure, for certain. And this is different than that. This is a different concept of forgiveness that is an evolved, ascended, more of an ascended consciousness level of forgiveness.
Right.
And so how I would like to see this unfold is that we review, some of the principles that can become the foundation for what we're speaking of, and then we present that, and then have our conversations midweek with individuals so that we can really have a conversation that's real, not just theoretical or intellectual. One of the things that we're passionate about here at True Thought is that this isn't just something that we talk about. Everything that we discuss is something that we are living in our lives. Are we perfect 100% of the time?
Yep.
In our expression? No. And that's okay. That's how we learn.
Yeah.
And that's how we have the contrast. And that gives us the opportunity to forgive and to forgive ourselves, which is the only forgiveness that there truly is. And
that, to me, it kind of ties back to the word trust.
Right.
If we really understand forgiveness, then we're really understanding how love is expressed and extended. And therein lies our safety and our defenselessness, and it all comes back to trust. I can forgive without fear. I can forgive in trust because I see things differently than what they're appearing to be. And I can be safe knowing that that I can trust love, and I can again I can, no matter how things appear to be, I know that I'm safe. I can trust that.
Right, right. And I think, what's dawning on me right now is that my highest intention is always about awakening and always about, the A Course in Miracles calls it salvation. And that salvation is reliant upon us embracing and understanding our own sinlessness. Another way of saying that is our own innocence. And forgiveness is the gateway to that.
Right. And Jesus shares through A Course in Miracles that God guarantees your sinlessness. Yeah. Which I fall back on that a lot because, forgiveness is all about something has been done wrong. There was an error, there was a mistake, right? And there's a judgment or whatever, right? And so God guarantees our sinlessness or our guiltlessness.
Yeah.
So all of those concepts are really run contrary to what we tend to have been taught and conditioned through the world's experience.
So he's already actually given the message for this Sunday. And so he's already given the first message with regard to February's Forgiveness Month.
Right. So I'm going to go ahead and ask for your forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly.
On that lesson.
Yes, please forgive us.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you want to say by way of preview before
we I'm just trying to lay a foundation, and so we have to, there's so many different pieces of the foundation. We have to construct the foundation before we can build a house. And so one of the things, and I was really getting this with our conversation this week in one of our podcasts in the Course in Miracles lessons, is we're really beginning to introduce a new way of being, a new way of living. And it's almost like moving to a new house. And so when we move to a new house, you think about all your stuff.
Yeah.
And you think about, what do I want to take with me? What do I want to pack? What do I want to drag along? What can I give away? What can I bless somebody else with? However I can get those things out there for somebody, because I've got stuff in my closet I haven't touched for 2 years or whatever the case may be. But every time we move to a new house, we really take stock of all the things that we value, because we're going to take with us what we've put value in. And so learning this new language, and these are fun little, metaphors and analogies, but learning this new language is like moving to a new house. Okay, we're back because we kind of dropped out. Our battery went dead.
Something's in retrograde.
Okay, I don't know what that means.
I don't know. They say it messes with all of our equipment and electronics, and
letting the battery run dead. That also
has nothing to do with Mercury and retrograde.
No, it has not. So anyway, what we were talking about and what I was sharing was that it's like moving to a new house. You have to assess what you're taking with you.
Yes.
Right. And so learning this new language, this new spiritual language, is like, what do I believe? Because we're going to go into a new house, and we're going to call it the house of truth. Okay. But what we've been living in is kind of like this house of illusion, the thinking system of the ego, the thought system ego. So next Sunday, I'm going to try to elucidate those pieces, because we have to lay that foundation, because the house we're going to build on that foundation is really, we can call that forgiveness, right? Because once we get into this house of truth, forgiveness is abundant. We see everything with the eyes of forgiveness. There's no judgment. There's only forgiveness, because there's no judgment. So you're just nonstop accepting, allowing, and forgiving, if you want to look at it that way. But we're going to get into that. I'm going to try to just lay a foundation, and then I know that you're going to build on that in the next Sunday after that. So for the next 2-3 weeks, we hope you'll stay with us through February, and we're going to really get into what we call true forgiveness, not fake forgiveness, because there is a thing like fake forgiveness. I mean, I've used it a lot in my life. Yeah, a lot, and we'll talk about why we're fearful of forgiveness as well.
Wow. Okay, I can't wait.
Okay.
We will hear that Sunday.
We will.
And we will connect with you in just a few minutes. If you'll join us, we'd love to have you on our Zoom.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And you usually rattle off all the things that
rattle
ways people can connect with us.
Right. Or just go to our website, truethought.org, and that's True Thought Spiritual Community. Join our Inner Circle mailing list, and we're not going to inundate you with lots of emails. In fact,
just one a week,
one or two a week, and but you'll be able to get notifications of our Zoom sessions and other things that we're doing in our podcasts and whatever's going on with True Thought Spiritual Community. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Catch us daily for those podcasts, by the way. Yeah. Those are available daily.
They are.
And go to the website for that.
You betcha.
All right.
Thanks so much for being here.
Love you.
Thanks for hanging out. We hope to talk to you on our Zoom session tonight.
Love you. Love you.
Love you.
And so it is.
And so it is. Have a great night.